Hi, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Self Again. Um, wow. No one styled my hair. I woke up and it was like this. I'm Sandy Rodriguez, and this channel is all about my journey with traumatic brain injury and how I live with that and retrograde amnesia. Well, this video was inspired by a post I read from a friend of mine, Kurt Timmons. We went to high school together. Well, he says that, I don't remember. Oh, if you like this video or any other video you see here, go back and watch them all. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. If you give it a thumbs up, your algorithm, that's a hell of a word, will, help you out with more cool videos from survivors like me. So, Kurt Timmons is such a sweet friend. He's always so excited about the baking videos or posts I put on Facebook, and eventually I'm going to get off my ass and do some baking videos here. Maybe some cooking, but he's so sweet he calls me chef, even though I'm not a chef. So he posted about Facebook about his grandmother teaching him, I'm sure when he was really young. And that reminded me of how I became the baker I am today. I retaught myself how to bake. I'm listening to Christmas music in the beginning of November. Yes, I am. So there. Well, it's the Nutcracker, a classic ballet that's always done around this time. Anyways, so I was told by my mom, and a few memories that have come up, that I always helped my grandmother and my mom and my aunt in the kitchen, cooking and more baking, but everybody did. The only thing that I think were done by scratch, my grandmother, Muggs, did most baking and candy making too by scratch. But I think I was taught how to do chocolate chip cookies, peanut butter cookies, and other simple things like that from scratch, probably through Girl Scouts as well. But I don't know. I don't know why I paused like that. But when I got home from the hospital, and I was going through full-time therapy at an outpatient facility in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Occupational therapy, there was a kitchen there, and occupational therapy that was a part of learning how to take care of yourself and be independent. So we did simple things like how to heat up a can of soup without burning yourself, or how to use a can opener. And then getting those pre-made cookie dough and how to bake them properly, understanding how to read a recipe and everything like that. The language of kitchen fun. So I was at home and not working, and I watched a lot of TV, as I still do, but back then it was a lot of PBS and both food channels. And I said, wow, you can take those few ingredients and wait, what does this mean? Wow, you can make that? So I started watching more and more and more. And in the beginning, when I was still living at home with Mom and Joe, I had the safety of having someone else there. I'd never do anything in the kitchen without someone there that knew how to handle any mess I made. But when I started to understand that, and a few more cooking, baking stuff came back in my head, I became obsessed. I said, I want to understand the science of how this does this. So then I became a all from scratch baker. I watched more and more and more, and I made sure I get to know who Julia Childs was, and I became friends with certain bakers. I try to seek out pastry chefs and watch anything that had to do with that. And then I started to do from scratch. I started to take, at one point, I wanted to become a pastry chef. So I enrolled at Schoolcraft's pastry classes and took the basic pastry classes and got to a point where I stopped going to school there. And I think it was because I moved with a relationship, or I paused there to go to Easter. I don't remember why I stopped. But then I started to understand the science of ingredients and leavening agents and what it meant and why there were two: baking soda, baking powder. Now, baking powder has baking soda in it. So, why is there baking soda? Why is everything just not baking powder? And I started to understand why you're asking why. I will go through this in another baking video. One is triggered by heat. The other one is triggered by acids. I don't remember which, but I will go through that when I talk about more baking or when I get to doing baking videos. And so it's like, that's incredible. So, the 80s TV show just popped in my head. So then I started understanding how to write my own recipes. Now, at first, not all ingredients from scratch. I would take a recipe that was already done by someone else, and I would pull it apart and restructure it, making it mine. Yeah, I know. Well, this is all semi-homemade, like the TV show by Sandra Lee, and she was awesome, and it was awesome. So that's most of my recipes are semi-homemade, but some of them I started making from scratch. And the one that I could make from scratch, write it in my head, were something that a lot of people are afraid to do, bakers are afraid to do, beginner bakers are cheesecakes, because there's no leavening agent. So I understood. And then once I understood how to handle swapping ingredients and how does less sugar and more of this, how is that going to work? So my family was very grateful of the trials that I did. So come on, give me some feedback. What's up with this? And then I started having my family like some, oh, you have favorites? Right on. I did try, I was going to say something else in regard to this, and I just forgot what I was going to say. So, okay, well, I don't want to stop and think and have dead air on here, but okay, I just said I didn't want to do that, so maybe it's time for me to head out and say thanks for staying. I will continue this conversation in another video after I take notes of what I want to say. So thank you, and carpe diem.